Hello and welcome to the Astro Vibe of the week. There's so much to cover that I'm going to keep it as succinct as I possibly can on Sunday, February 23rd. So you're probably watching this on Monday or Tuesday or Wednesday of that week. But on Sunday, February 23rd, we had Mars, who has been retrograde since December. We have Mars going direct. So on Sunday and possibly at the beginning of this week, the energy could feel almost like too much. Mars is the element of fire and is the archetype of the warrior. It is masculine energy. It is forward momentum, forward motion, like charge. Like I'm envisioning a group of soldiers and the first one goes charge, like in Braveheart, like they run forward. Like that's the energy of Mars. And when Mars has been retrograde and is in a watery sign, which it is in Cancer right now, when it's been in this sort of internal motion and goes retrograde, goes direct from that space, things could feel a little off kilter. It could feel like the energy is moving really, really fast all of a sudden and could feel like a little chaotic or a little hectic in your system and in your body. So the first thing that I want to get into in this forecast for the week of February 24th is actually to pay attention to how you're breathing, how you feel, how your central nervous system is. Are you a little jittery or a little fried? It might be a good week to not have so much coffee or so many shots of espresso, so much green tea if you go that way, because collectively, like what's happening cosmically is that the energy is going to speed up. So just be aware of how that is impacting you. And for some people, it's going to feel so freaking good. Like you got your zhuzh back, you got your energy back, you got your motivation back. Life could feel a little bit, at least from the standpoint of our doing energy. I think collectively and just with this culture that we're in, we feel more comfortable when we can get shit done, when we can make things happen. And so that is going to start happening. And you also want to pay attention to your energy levels and having energy that you can ride out in a balanced time so you're not burning out at the end of the week. I know that that can happen. I can foresee this for many people where Friday comes, February 28th comes and you are just like shot. You're like burnt out. This is not the kind of week for burnout, crazy energy, especially because we have so much Piscean energy coming in. We have a new moon on the 27th. So in towards the end of the week on Thursday. Before that, on Tuesday, we have a Mercury, planet of the mind, and Saturn, planet of discipline, conjunction. So those two are coming together. And let's get into that. I'm going to open up the chart today so that you can see what is going on in the sky, specifically towards the middle of the week as we get closer to the new moon, because this is such a potent week for envisioning and working with the unseen realms and working with your ability to visualize and bring your visualizations and the things that you're working on internally into fruition. Now, that being said, as we get into March, we will be going into eclipse season, and eclipse season tends to create a lot of changes in many people's lives. Things move at a faster rate, and there tends to be what traditional astrologers would call fated events during eclipse season, where new things might come into your life, old things might exit your life, and it's all for highest and best. It's all in divine timing. But this Pisces new moon is setting the stage for how we're going to move through eclipse season, and for how we are able to connect to our personal journey, our inner world. Because even when things are changing and shifting in the outer world, as long as you have this deep connection to what's going on inside of you, and you're able to be with your system. You might hear my dog walking across the floor right now, just FYI. um, then you're going to set yourself up for success during eclipse season. And I also think that this is a really good time to just take note that eclipse season is coming in March, and you have so many tools to be able to move with inner connection to your center, with groundedness, as possible changes could come in. Okay, so take a look at this chart. This is the new moon chart. And as I said before, just a few days before the new moon, Saturn and Mercury, which are both in Pisces right now, are coming into alignment. Mars will be in direct motion. Mars is in the sign of Cancer. And so we're dealing with watery energy. We're dealing with flow, and we're dealing with movement and things that are happening under the surface in your inner world. Now, when Saturn lines up with Mercury, the planet of the mind, a few days before this new moon, the energy of discipline and self-responsibility, and how we can take personal accountability for how our lives look, will amplify. Anytime that we are working with the planet of Saturn, we are working with Capricorn energy. Even though Saturn is in Pisces, Saturn rules Capricorn. So we're talking about stability energy. We're talking about boss energy, being the boss of your life. And instead of taking a backseat to life, or letting your emotions drive you, or letting your, I'll call it the victim mentality, where things don't go wrong or we get triggered, and then our ego, our inner 2-year-old has a tantrum and wants to drive our car, and we say, you know what? Saturn would say, you know what, inner 2-year-old, I love you. I see you. I understand that you're having a challenging moment, but I'm in charge. The higher self is in charge. My inner boss is connected to my higher self and my higher wisdom, not my lower self. So Saturn helps us tune in to that higher self, that inner adult. And when I say inner adult, I mean the healed part of ourself, our the part of ourself that is able to make decisions from a really rounded and supported and calm and peaceful present state. Not the part of us that's wailing and freaking out or reacting from what is happening in our external world. Saturn is going to be so helpful for us, as Saturn lines up with Mercury, to get our minds into a place where we're able to more easily take action on what is aligned with our higher self, and just be in that energy, be in the Saturnian archetypal energy. Now, Saturn in Pisces is all about having the personal discipline to take care of our emotions, and the personal discipline to take care of our routines and our inner world. So for many of us, including myself, that means having really good practices with boundaries, with being able to say no to what isn't aligned with us, and be able to carve out a safe space for us to recalibrate our energy, for us to fill our cup, to take time out when we need to take time out, and stop over giving and over helping when it is depleting us. So Saturn in Pisces says, fill your cup. Bring the energy into yourself. Do what feels good for you. And when we're talking about water and we're talking about filling our cups with water, I like to think about how can we, from this place of self-respect and self-sovereignty and responsibility, how can we care for ourselves and stay in this beautiful centered space? Now, the water element is supportive in this way because water cleanses and clears. So if you've been holding on to stuff, you want to align with the element of water to help release some of like the heaviness or the baggage or the stuckness. That can look like going to a body of water, like a river or a lake or a pond or the ocean, just literally going to a body of water and sitting by the body of water. And just by looking at the water, your central nervous system will be able to recalibrate and feel this soothing energy of the archetype of water, which is deeply, deeply compassionate, deeply understanding, and kind. Okay, so you could go to water. You could also take a shower and let the water cleanse you. Imagine that the water is cleansing you and cleansing your auric field. You might close your eyes and visualize the water as light, bringing light into the water and helping cleanse your body with that light as well. You could also take a bath and let yourself float in the water. Imagine how happy your body is when you don't have to use your strength. You don't have to use your muscles to get around and move and work. When you can just float in water, it is so deeply soothing for your brain and your central nervous system. And it is so calming, and it's also just so good for your body. It's so good for your muscles. Extra points if you have Epsom salt, if you have rose petals. Pisces is a very feminine energy. When we're talking about water, we're talking about femininity, and we're talking about flow and release. So roses have really high frequency feminine energy. I think they're like the highest frequency of all flowers I have read before. So rose petals in a bath with Epsom salt or rose oil, or I even have rose water from the Heritage Store, organic rose water. It's like just so refreshing, and it's so cleansing. Another thing that you could do as a ritual is to fill a glass with water and put salt in it and just leave it in your home, maybe on a table in your kitchen, or it's, you know, in your living room, like somewhere in a common space filled with salt, because that salt water will cleanse the energy in your space. So you can be creative here with what aligns for you with the water element and with things that help cleanse and clear and wash away anything that has been sticking onto you. Saturn will help us actually take action on this instead of just thinking about it, actually bringing it down the grounding cord into manifestation, into doing. On this day, on February 27th, on this new moon, I believe it is around 7:30 Eastern Standard Time, so adjust for your time zone. We have this beautiful new moon in Pisces. Okay, beautiful new moon in Pisces at 9 degrees. The 9 is a closure number. It is a number of having realizations and getting to this point in your journey where you have had You're able to have closure around something that you didn't have closure on before. It's a completion number. 2025 is also a 9 year. So we're talking about completion energy. And this is the first new moon of completion energy of this completion year. So we have a lot of magic and power in that. And then this new moon also makes some powerful, harmonious, it's called a trining energy with Mars in Cancer. So Mars is our ability to act and do. It is our willpower and our confidence. And Cancer is, again, a water element that deals with our emotions, our intuition, and the part of ourself that has the ability to vibe check, to feel vibes, to know what's going on, to know what's best for us without using language. This isn't really a moon of words. It is a moon of feeling. This whole week is about feeling and sensing and knowing and being connected to things that are not necessarily words. So that could be music. Even with the lyrics, we're still getting the vibrational frequency. It could be meditations and visualizations. It could be moving your body and dancing with music. It's like, how do you communicate and express without using words? If you have practice with this, you can even meditate on an emotion that you want to cultivate. You could close your eyes and bring joy into your heart. And the longer you do that, all of your amygdala and your processing systems in your body will be able to move you into a state of joy just by bringing it into your awareness. So there's really beautiful ways to work with this energy that isn't necessarily with your words. You could manifest by dancing into the energy of what you want. I know for some of you, you might be thinking, that is crazy, that is woo-woo, like, what are you talking about? But I am telling you, this has been studied and proven time and time again that when people meditate and visualize what they want, they can change their brain chemistry and change their reticular activating system, like how they communicate with the universe, and bring things into fruition faster than with words. So there's so many ways to cultivate things. And I think this Pisces new moon is giving us a gateway into the practice of that. And that's going to look different, right, for everybody. But we have this new moon with a beautiful aspect to Mars, really supportive energy. We have this new moon, and we also have Saturn making a beautiful aspect to Jupiter, which is the planet of higher wisdom, and also the planet that brings in more and more and more of whatever we're calling in. So it makes our manifestations more easeful and smoother. But the big secret with this energy is that, you know, we tend to want to call something in, cultivate something, make something happen at the snap of a finger. And that's not how things work on this earth plane. So I always like to remind myself and those who are listening to this that whatever it is that you're focusing on and calling in, that's something that you're going to notice in the future. You're not going to notice it immediately. So if you're doing this work of visualizing and manifesting and asking yourself, like, where the heck is it? Why isn't it here? This isn't working. Don't do that. First of all, don't never say this isn't working. This is working in divine timing. All of this cosmic energy is about trusting the divine timing and trusting that even though it's not directly in front of your face right now, you're not seeing the results that you may want immediately. Know that whatever it is that you're putting your energy into, you are cultivating it into a future time. And if you think about a past time, there was a time in the past where you were wishing and praying for where you've gotten to at this point in your journey now. Even if things feel funky, I know that you can remember a time where you didn't have what you have now that you wanted. So whatever's happening in this moment is actually a cultivation and a creation of what is going to happen in the future. And that is how we can really work with this astrology in the highest timeline, in the highest way, is to understand that it's a fusion of cosmic timing and also our own internal alignment and saying yes to what we know is good for us, what is in our highest and best, and remembering to, it's really just so much about choosing, but also remembering, like, oh yeah, if I'm feeling a certain way and I'm feeling icky, I can shift that by taking a shower or taking a bath or going to a body of water. I can shift that even if I don't have those things, by washing my hands in the sink and just visualizing that the water in the faucet is cleansing and washing away emotions that I don't want to carry or stuff I don't want to carry. And your hands are extensions of your heart chakra. So when you work with your hands, you're doing healing and clearing work around your heart when you're doing it in an intentional way. So a very magical, a very mystical, a very heart-centered and feminine week is upon us. I would love to hear what you are going to lean into, what you are going to cultivate this week, even if it's just one word. I think it would be really potent to simplify and connect to one word that you want to begin to cultivate for the rest of the week. And maybe you have a word that you chose at the beginning of the year. My word is team. I'm working on this solo Capricorn woman is working on opening up to bringing in more helpers and more humans in her team, in how I do things, more people in the community. We know that this earth game is not to be played alone. Like, we need each other. So my work is in that. It's in calling in the communities and the teamwork. I'm just thinking of this, and this is Saturn, right? The team. You don't have to do it alone. Especially Pisces is sometimes can be a loner, So really good. And I have this quote I want to close with, which is, if you want to go really, really, really fast, do it alone. If you want to go really, really far, do it together. So if you're watching this still, you are doing it together. You're on the journey with me, and I'm so grateful for it. I hope you have a beautiful rest of this week. Happy incoming Pisces new moon. Happy Mars direct. And I will just send you so much love and see you on the other side.